Hello.
Welcome.
Welcome back to number 2 of the Mother's Guide to Setting Up for Sanity in the Silly Season.
I'm just going to share it into our Mother Rising group.
Okay, so while Kay is sharing, welcome if you're on replay. This is the second live that we're doing in this series. And in this live, we're talking about how to create space and balance over the next couple of weeks. And I'm imagining a lot of you going, that's like not even possible. But I promise you it actually is possible. We want to talk about it. So the topics that we're going to briefly cover in today's live include self-care inside the silly season and why that is a key piece in creating the holiday season you want. And that it is totally possible. And we're going to show you how. The other things that we want to talk about is frequency holding, which means that as the energetic anchor in your family, you hold a frequency that's going to project out into your home. And what do you want that to be, and how do you do that? Then the third thing we're going to talk about is the critical important skill of receiving. There's a lot of energetics in today's live. Receiving over the next couple of weeks and why that is critically important. I know it's a season of giving, but if you don't receive, oh man, it's going to be hard.
And also how incredibly connecting and powerful receiving is, not just for you, but for your children and your whole family. Receiving is actually one of the most powerful giving forces. It doesn't quite make sense in our heads, but it is.
It is, absolutely. Receiving is a key piece. And the last thing we're going to talk about a little bit in today's live is balancing masculine and feminine energy over the next couple of weeks, and how you do that as a mother. Because as a mother at the moment, you're in your rush season. There's like a gazillion things on that to-do list. You're very focused, directional, and orientated in getting shit done. There's quite a masculine energy. And how do you balance your feminine energy in that? Which is a question our clients are all asking us at the moment. So that's what's coming today. What else? Oh, before we start with content, we're going to do it right now. But if you join the live, hi Rachel. If you join the live, which you are, and you comment, and you'll know because you hear us talking, you'll know what to comment on. Comment in the live, you're going to go into the draw to win a digital version of the Magical Mamas Manifesting System, which is one of our products on at the moment. It's got the Conscious Mamas Reset Retreat in it. It's got the Heart Diary. It's got a free ticket to our half-day virtual retreat in January. It's got the 13 Moon Goddess Activation Meditation. This really amazing, beautiful kit.
And it's really about anchoring in your consciousness, like the kinds of sanity that we're talking about here, anchoring that into the whole of the new year, into the whole of the next year.
Yeah. Hey, Rachel. So let's get on to today's topic. So creating space and balance, that starts within, okay? We think that once I have the space and the balance around me, I'll breathe. It's the other way around. It has to come from within first and ripple out. It's really a case of who you be is going to extend outwards. And the key piece in this is at this time of the year in particular, I've got to be honest, mothers are not naturally, don't find this easy most of the time anyway, but at this time of the year, it's pretty much a write-off for them. They don't even put it on the to-do list at all, is your self-care. And the reason why the care of self is important is that you cannot be grounded, you cannot be clear, cannot be in alignment with your heart, you cannot be spacious and, feeling peaceful if you have a gazillion unmet needs floating around and you're exhausted and you're not even in your body, you're outside somewhere in the future. None of that is conducive to you creating the holiday season that you want. So the question becomes, how do we create self-care then? Because, I don't have any time.
And it's so often, as Lisa was saying, like people go, whoa, at the moment I'm way too busy. There's no way I could even think about self-care. The first thing you need to do is shift your perspective and flip it around self-care. Because it's not something you squeeze in when you have spaciousness, when you have time. It's something that's a non-negotiable that you commit to in order for, and especially in times when there's more stuff going on, like the holiday season, in order for that time to flow more, in order for that time to actually be more spacious, even though there's more things happening. Like, if you commit to self-care, you'll find that even if you're doing just as many things, even if your holidays are as busy as they would be if you weren't committing to self-care, that you, in the doing of those things, it will be more flowing, it will be more enjoyable, and you'll have more spaciousness.
You will. And so self-care is a state of being. And it is your foundation that grounds you. I know, we're doing 2 in a row on this, then we're stopping for today, but we had to get to it. So it is your foundation. This is like a state of being that you need to commit to. How do you do it? Okay. In the moment, self-care. Hello to everyone who's joining. Mwah. Say hello, because we want to say hello. We're talking to people that we don't know. we know you, but we don't. You know. Anyway. In the moment, self-care. Let's really briefly talk about it.
Yeah.
How do you do it? This is how you do it. There's 2 major forms of self-care that we teach when we have clients working with us. There's in the moment self-care and there's sacred recharge. Sacred recharge is the smaller of the 2 types of self-care that you need. You need some, okay? And that's where you need to withdraw, take time out, go into your own space and retreat. Okay. The far larger portion of your self-care is in the moment self-care. Joanne, in the moment self-care is that state of being that we talked about that you're committing to. And essentially you're saying, I matter. What's going on for me in this moment is valid and can be worked into the situation. Okay. So the 101, the very basics of in-the-moment self-care, is to ask yourself periodically across the day, what am I feeling? Given that, what am I needing? And your answer is often small. Like it is often, I need a glass of water, I need to sit down, I need to put on some music I like, I need to get a cup of tea, like all of those things.
I need to just take a deep breath.
Yeah. These are not things that you have to carve out time for. They're things that are woven into your day as a commitment to self and your grounded foundation. And trust me, you really need it at this time of year. They sound so simple and so little that you just skip them. I promise you that even once or twice a day, you'll notice the effect across your day. You will. So that's how to start fitting in some self-care. And it's super, super important if you want more spaciousness. It sounds counterintuitive, but I promise you it makes a really big difference.
And another way is also to look at how you're relating with yourself. Like, it's if you start making it a practice to be more kind to yourself, for your thoughts to be more kind to yourself when you notice, like, oh, I've been berating myself about all of this and about how I've been showing up and about all my expectations, and practice being more kind to yourself. That's huge.
That's self-care, care of self, yes. Okay, the other really huge piece in creating the spaciousness that you want on an energetic level is the concept of receiving. It is critically important. And by receiving, so you are either projecting your energy out or you are receiving your energy in, okay? Now, as mothers, we project out a lot. And a lot of us are actually really struggle to receive. That's a tricky thing for us to do. And in this time of the year, receiving is what is replenishing for you. You can only give out what you have received, what's in there to give out. You can't keep giving out on empty. And I'm telling you something you've probably heard. But hear it on the energetic level here. You need to receive the energy that you want to then give out again. Receiving will fill you up over and over and over again. And when you start receiving, watch how hard it is at the beginning, how shut down it is. When you receive, okay, the obvious ones at this time of the year, when you receive a gift, when you receive a compliment, those are like just Christmassy ones. Receive it fully. And that is such a gift to the giver, by the way. That's a full energetic exchange. between the giving and the receiving. But over the next couple of weeks, receive everything you can every single day. Receive the sun, receive the water that you drink, receive a breath, receive a hug from your child.
Receive the shower, every shower that you have. Receive it like into every cell of your body. Let it rejuvenate you.
These are things you're going to be doing anyway, but we're asking you to consciously receive the energy that you actually need. This has a huge effect, not only for you, but then it starts to ripple out. What you receive, then you've got this abundance of energy, and it starts to come out in everything that you're doing. Kaya was telling me about one of her favourite movies. Water like
water for chocolate.
Like water for chocolate.
Lisa hasn't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it. But essentially the premise is, that Kaya shared with me, I'm going to give you the abbreviated version, is that through all the receiving this woman was doing, and we won't give away the plot because they probably won't watch it, all the receiving this lady was doing, then when she was cooking food for everyone, she was putting all this love and magic into the food, and as the people ate the food, they could totally feel it.
It was totally orgasmic, magical feast that was created.
So receiving is a superpower, and you need to get on it. As a mother, it's probably one of the most powerful things that blows our clients' minds and shifts their world when we work with them, is really get your receiving down.
And if you practice receiving your children, as in like receiving their words when they're sharing something with you, or when you're just like having a hug, then that's when you make those everyday kind of whatever moments super powered and really magical and really sacred. So that's when, like in the last live in this series, we were talking about how during this series we're going to help you create like a ritual with your whole family or an experience. If you bring that energy of receiving into any experience, it makes it powerful.
It's actually one of the fundamental pieces in connection. If you're trying to, in the energetics of connection and understanding that dynamic in mother-child relationship, receiving is an incredibly powerful and important piece in the connecting. It's not just the giving of the moment, it's the receiving of your child.
And Rachel's shared.
Consciously receiving the environment is a great idea, thank you.
And you said, that's so many out of my body. We're often, many of us.
We get that.
Especially when things get busier and more stressful. I do know that self-care is important, but when it doesn't happen, I feel guilty that I should have made the time. So it becomes another chore. Interested in ways to get self-care regularly that can happen whilst other things are too. I find receiving a good boost is perfect for me. Yeah, and isn't that such a funny way, like funny self-sabotage that we have, where we're like, instead of noticing that we haven't given self-care and then in that moment giving ourselves self-care, we guilt ourselves for not caring for ourselves in order to take away any of the self-care that's there.
Yeah.
Like in that moment, instead of the guilt, what is a tiny little piece of self-care?
Yeah. Guilt, blame and shame are the control mechanisms of our society, and we use them on ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
It's just kind of messed up. Yeah, absolutely. So in the moment self-care, Rachel, hopefully we've already answered that for you. You just find little moments and weave it into the day. This is not something you add to your day. This is a state of being that you need to commit to over the next couple of weeks for sure if you want to get through it with grace and space. Okay? Okay, then we wanted to talk briefly about balancing masculine and feminine energy. You want to do that one? You want me to do it?
Yes, maybe you start because I'm like, what were we saying about that?
What were we saying about that? Okay. At the moment, as a mother, you're using quite a lot of masculine energy. Masculine energy, I'm assuming the people here who are listening to us have heard us talk energetics quite a lot. But if you haven't, we all have masculine and feminine energetic traits within us. They're just different flavors of energy and they have different qualities that come with them. We have both. We're more comfortable in one than the other, but we need both to create wholeness and balance within us. And sometimes we are lopsided in our energetic, what we're doing. At this time of the year, most mothers are predominantly running a lot of masculine energy. They're running I've got to get this done. I've got to tick this off. I've got to be efficient. What's my schedule? What's my timetable? What's my to-do list? What's my gift list? It's efficiency, structure, order, direction, getting stuff done. It's a very masculine flavor.
Stuff in.
So it's a very masculine flavor of energy. And if you are, and most mothers, I've got to say that over all the years that we've done this, predominantly most mothers that we have worked with are actually more comfortable running a bit more feminine energy. Even
if you've potentially not ever really had it at your core your whole life, because we live in such a masculine society, but all the mothers we've worked with have discovered, even if it's like for the first time, have discovered, oh yes, that feels home to me.
Yeah, oh, that feels better. So the feminine energy is that receiving that we talked about, the ability to go with the flow, to be a bit more spontaneous, to have access to our creativity and our intuition. There's lots of them, and I don't want to
be way more just in our bodies and surrender a bit more to
what's happening.
Yeah. The movement of life.
So how do we try and do both at the same time? And the answer is, well, actually the question that came was more about how do I stay in my feminine when I feel like I've got to be in my masculine. And the answer is you strive for wholeness here. You strive for the balance. Both the masculine and the feminine are going to be needed over the next couple of weeks to see you through with grace. So how do you do that? If you know that your day is jam-packed full of predominantly things that are going to demand masculine energy to get them done, then you set an intention in the morning to focus strongly on a feminine quality. I will be willing to go with the flow, or I will receive as many moments as possible in my day. I pick something that helps counteract it and keep the balance not lopsided. Okay? If on the other side you are really in your feminine at this time of the year, and I'll tell you there are people that are, but they're kind of in a disempowered feminine or an unconscious feminine.
I can't cope, it's all too much, I'm going to check out.
Yeah, so that's what it looks like in the disempowered feminine. I'm overwhelmed, I'm freaking out, I'm just going to put my head in the sand and I can't deal with this right now. If that's you, then to create that balance and that peace within that you want, the wholeness, you actually need to pick up a masculine trait and run with it a little bit in some form in your energy. Maybe you do need to sit down and create a little bit of a plan or get a little bit clear on what gifts you want to do or whatever it is.
Get more focused on what's really important.
And what's really important to you. Yeah, focus might be the word that you need. So it's not about I'm only going to sit in my feminine or I'm only going to sit in my masculine. So there are periods in the year where you can totally work with that and you can play with that and you can really honor your own contraction and expansion cycles in your own personal rhythm. But over the next couple of weeks, there's a lot to fit in. I know you all know this, so you want to go for a bit of both. Strive for the balance. Work out where you're top heavy and counteract it with the opposite. If you've got questions on this, type away and we will answer them because we're throwing in a lot of energetics. And so our students that are on here know what we're talking about. But if you're not one of our students and you want to know, ask.
And actually, also Lisa and I have opened up space in our calendar at the moment. So if you want to go way deeper on it and you want our help to really find that wholeness and that balance within yourself and find like your empowered feminine and your empowered masculine, and also connect with your intuition and your divinity and your power, then we've got the link in the description and book in for a free Goddess Reawakening session with us. We've put spaces in during the holidays and also a lot more afterwards as well. So
they're all in January and stuff. It's one of the things that we do that really enables us to give back too. So we're really looking forward to it. Okay, and the last point I'm going to touch on, if you've got questions, ask away. I can see you're here. I can see there's people here, but I don't go through. The last thing we want to talk on is if you want to create this spaciousness, it does start within. And then we want you to remember that as a mother, as a primary carer, really in particular, okay, you are the energetic anchor in your family, okay? And that means that what's happening within you is often ripples out and gets mirrored around you in your family. Even if it's your unconscious, like we're talking on the level of energetics, right? So it might not be the words you're saying. You might be like, oh, I feel relaxed, you know, like this. But if your energy is pinging around like a crazy person inside, that will overflow into your family energy, okay? So what we talk about here is frequency holding, which is actually a term that comes from Eckhart Tolle. But mothers are amazing frequency holders. It's one of our powers. You do it whether you're consciously doing it or not. Okay, so whether you know about it or not, you're doing it. So what is the frequency that you really want to be holding and allow it to spill out into your family? This starts within, okay? This is the spaciousness that you want in your home has to come from within. You hold that frequency.
And that's why the self-care is so important, because you can't skip that. You can't fake it. You can't be like, oh, I really want my family to have peace. So I'm going to frequency hold that when you're like, within yourself. Yeah.
So that's it for today's live. It's a little bit longer, this one, but I thought that was important to say some of that stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to come and join us for the rest of the lives, please do. If you comment on today's live, something that you reflected on what we said, something that was helpful for you, you will go in the draw. Read the description. You'll go in the draw for a prize. Every live that you comment on, you go in the draw again. And if you want to come to tomorrow's live, what are we talking about? Creating space in our calendars.
Yes. We want to look at all the things that you have committed to and that you've scheduled in and that you've said yes to, even if you didn't really want to, and actually tune into what really needs to be there and what really doesn't.
Yeah. We're doing 2 lives tomorrow. That's the first one. And the second one that we're doing is how to say no with grace.
Which is very tied to that.
It's very tied together.
And how to claim your no energy.
As an empowered thing to be doing. Yeah. And all of those 2 topics tomorrow add to this space piece. Yeah. We overcommit all the time at this time of the year. We say yes to things we don't even freaking want to do. We actually say yes to things that we're dreading. Like, and if you followed from
drag our feet through the whole thing.
Yeah. And so in terms of that, if you think back to last live, the first live, and Kay will put the link in the comments to it, but if you think back to, we talked about what is one intention, what is one core desire feeling that you want to feel, and what is one value. If they're your guides and you're looking at your calendar going, these don't align at all, you're setting yourself up for a season that's not congruent with what in your heart you want it to be.
And that will be stressful.
And yucky. And we don't want that for you. So come hang out with us tomorrow on these. We love to see you. If you've got questions, put them in the live and we'll address them. Oh, we've got comments.
Yay.
Yay. Mwah. We'll read these, Joe, and get back to you, honey. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.